Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome to Do Station with yet another video. I hope you are good, you are enjoying and learning as well. My efforts are helping you. Today we are starting our module 4 of the series HSE ABC to XYZ. Learn from the scratch. We are learning the HSE from beginner to expert level. So this module is basically hazard identification and risk assessment. HIRA, very important topic. So today, in the today's video, we will cover the types of the hazard, which is very important in if you want to understand or identify the hazard effectively. So in the today's topic, we will see what types of hazards are there, what are their characteristics. So let's move to the topic and start it. Welcome to presentation, everyone. Our series on HSE ABC to XYZ going on. We are starting our module 4 today, which is hazard identification and risk assessment, commonly known as HIRA process. Today, we will look into the types of hazards. Module guide, our module is hazard identification and risk assessment, HIRA process, globally accepted, appreciated and practiced. Very crucial one. It is a systematic process to identify hazards and then evaluating the associated risk, then putting in the suitable control measures to ensure that our workplace is safe, our work environment is safe, to avoid injuries, accidents. So this is very important one. It is a very comprehensive topic we will cover in the series of the videos. Today is the part one, the first video of this topic, basically, which is related to the hazard identification process, which is a part of HIRA. In the today's video, we will cover the types of hazards, which are very important. A good understanding is very important to ensure our health and safety or risk assessment process is effective. So let's start it. Today's key topics are the importance of hazard types, role of the hazard types in the effective risk management, and the key types of the hazards. Learning outcomes, by the end of video, we should have a good understanding of importance of the hazard types in risk management process and what is the role of good understanding of the types of hazards in making our risk management more effective. And also we will be able to understand which categories or types of hazards are crucial organizations should consider during the risk management, or how they should categorize them to make this management process more effective. Introduction to today's topic. We know that hazards are potential sources of harm that can harm our people, business, environment, and society. So it is very important to have a good, effective risk management process or system in place, so we can ensure the safety of our workplace. For that, the good understanding of hazards and their types and their role in effective risk management is very important aspect. So today we will learn that. Importance of hazard types. Understanding the types of hazards help in identifying potential risks. So good understanding of the hazard types let us make the hazard identification process more easier and effective for us. If we have a good understanding, obviously, then we know that where to look for hazards, when they may be there, and how they exist in our organization. Like crushing hazard, if we have a good understanding about them, so obviously we will go to the exact locations in our business or work organization where the conditions where we can be compressed between them or crushed between two objects. Similarly, condition dependent hazards, if we have a good understanding, like boiling water, we know that water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. Fire, we know that three ingredients when they combine, fire, heat, fuel, and the oxygen in air under the suitable conditions, then fire happens. This is a chemical reaction. So if we have good understanding of these hazards, obviously then we can identify such conditions. Similarly, some hazards will be induced from the activities themselves, like reactive chemical. If they combine together, they can cause hazardous situations like toxic gases, release of toxic gases, and fire and explosion. Similarly, springs, we know that if we compress them, they become the potential source of mechanical energy which can be harmful for us. So good understanding of the types of hazards makes it easy for us to identify hazard, and also make the possible to identify those hazards which are especially condition based or the activity based. Then a good understanding of the hazards, types of hazards help on effectively categorizing them. They make convenient to organizing the risk, which is very essential in the effective risk management. Then they let us effectively prioritize them on the basis of low, medium, high, or which are critical. They let us make the address order. Then efficient resource allocation. The good understanding ensures that we don't waste our resources in form of time, effort, and finance. Then understanding the types of the hazards help in developing the effective control measures. Control selections, they help effectively select the control measures, like different chemicals need different respirators, different types of gloves. So if we have good understanding, obviously then we can select the correct control measure. Adequacy levels, different hazards may require different levels of control measures, like liquids may require extra precautions than solid substances. So they help the good understanding of the types of hazards help in this regard. Now let's look into the role in effective risk management. Understanding the types of hazard is crucial for effective risk management. They help in effective hazard identification. If we have good understanding of the hazards and their characteristics and types, obviously then we can identify all the potential hazards, especially those which are conditions induced or which are activities induced. Then they help in the effective assessment of the risk. If we do have good understanding of their properties, their deviation conditions, or the behavior under different circumstances or changing conditions, then we can make our risk assessment process more effective. Then they help in the risk prioritization and mitigation. If we have good understanding of the hazards and their properties, then we can prioritize them more effectively, and we can set the addressing order. Then suitable target controls help in the selection of the suitable controls, which is very essential. They let us follow the hierarchy of control. Then compliance with the regulations, legal recovery. If we have good understanding, obviously, then we can cover all the aspects which are required in the legal frameworks. Then effective training plan, they'll help in development of the effective training plans, so we can ensure that, especially for the critical hazard where we need emergency procedures to cope up in case of any emergency. Then continuous improvement, obviously, then they help in the continuous improvement of our system. If we have good understanding, obviously, then we can identify all new hazard that may be generated due to the changing circumstances and conditions all the time. And then if we effectively control them, then our system will continually improve with the passage of time. So this is the role of the good understanding of types of hazards in effective risk management. Now let's look into the types of hazards. We have physical hazards. We can subcategorize them into mechanical hazards, non-mechanical hazards. Then we have chemical hazards, biological hazards, ergonomic hazards, psychological hazards, and organizational hazards. Let's now understand them one by one. So let's look into the physical hazards. Let's define the physical hazards refer to the work environment conditions or physical agents that can cause physical harm to the individual. Basically, these are the hazards which have potential to cause physical harm. They are basically in the forms of work environment conditions like floor conditioning, slippery floors, poor lighting, etc. Then there may be the physical agents, which are basically the sources of different types of energies like thermal energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy. Physical hazards basically do two subcategories, which are mechanical hazards and non-mechanical hazards. Mechanical hazards, let's define them: hazards arising from the use of machinery, equipment, and moving parts. These hazards belongs to the equipment and machinery and their moving parts and have the mechanical energy that can cause harm to us, and basically they cause you the physical injuries. Gears, chainsaws, blades, cutters, vehicles, heavy equipment, etc. Mechanical hazards can be subcategorized into the impact hazards. Impact hazard basically where the physical object strikes you, part of an equipment or machine, collide with you or strike with you. Then crushing hazard, in which you can be crushed between or compressed between two objects or surfaces. Then cuts, puncture hazards, in which sharp object can cause you the cuts, lacerations. Then pinch point drawing in hazard, moving parts of the machinery, especially the gearboxes or the conveyor, where there are pinch points and they can draw in you and your body parts into the machine. Then entanglement hazard, your loose cloths or loose objects you are wearing, they can entangle with the moving parts of the machine and they can draw in you or they can trap you. Then falling or flying objects that can strike with you and cause you the injury. physical injury. Then liquids under pressure, hydraulic system where the liquids are under high pressure. If they accidentally eject, they can cause severe injuries. So these are mechanical hazards. Non-mechanical hazards, let's define them. Those physical hazards refer to work environment conditions, physical agents that can cause physical harm, but not related to the machinery or equipment. Basically, these hazards are the hazards, physical agents or workplace conditions not related to equipment or machinery or mechanical energy, but they can cause us the physical harm. They are basically the workplace conditions like slippery floors and bad lighting, etc. Then physical agents, sources of energy, thermal, electromagnetic, acoustic energy, or vibration sources. These hazards include fire and explosions. Basically, these can be very catastrophic. The fire has basically the smoke hazard, then light hazard and heat hazard, etc. Then extreme temperatures, cold or hot, they can cause health effects to us. Then radiations, ionizing or non-ionizing radiations, usually they can cause severe health issues. Also, they can cause the physical issues or safety issues, injuries to us. Then electric hazards, electrocution, burns, shocks, we can get from them. Noise hazards have the direct consequences of health impacts. We can lose our hearing, and or then that indirectly they can cause the distractions, which can lead to another injuries or sort of incident. Vibrations have the source of potential impact to the health, especially usually they are they have chronic effects that develop and appear with the passage of time. Then slips and trips, workplace conditions. So if we slip or trip, we can get injured. Then falls from the height, it can lead to the broken bones or death even. So these are some types of non-mechanical hazards. Chemical hazards, potential harm or risk due to the harmful characteristics of the chemical. So these are basically the hazards related to the hazardous substances or chemicals that have the chemical properties or characteristics that can harm us. They can affect our health, they can cause physical injuries, or they can cause damage to the environment, land, air, and the water. They include the solvents, adhesives, paints, toxic dust, etc. So they have basically the health effect. They can impact our health. They can cause diseases or different health conditions like cancers. Then physical effects. They can cause the irritations, burns, or things like that. Then the environmental effects in which they can pollute or contaminate our land, air, or soil. So these are the health chemical hazards. Biological hazards, biological substances, agents can cause harm to humans, animals, or environment. They are derived from the or related to the living organism. These are basically substances or agents of the microscopic level, single cellular or unicellular, that can cause harm to people, animals, or the environment. They include bacteria, microscopic organisms that can cause infections or different diseases. Then viruses, infectious agents that can cause diseases or ill health issues like COVID, HIV. Then there are another category of fungi. Basically, these are neither plant from the plant kingdom or animal kingdom. Rather, they have their own kingdom. We call them fungi kingdom. So they are in the forms of mushrooms or mold, and they can cause infections, diseases. They are usually toxic. Then parasites. These are living organisms that live within the host and cause harm to it. Then biotoxic, venomous insects like snakes, scorpions. So these also can cause severe harms to people. So these are some forms of biological hazards. Ergonomic hazards, workplace conditions that pose risk to the musculoskeletal system, mismatch between the physical requirements of a job and physical capacity of the workers. Basically, these hazards are the physical stressors that can impact our musculoskeletal system. They can damage or weaken our muscles, our ligaments, and our joints. These conditions basically arise from the interaction between worker, its work, and the work environment. They usually belongs to the workplace design, workstation design, if that is not appropriate. So this can be harmful for the worker. Similarly, design and standard of the equipment, which is if not suitable for the worker, so these implications can happen. Then these basically comes from the repetition of the task. That same movement repeatedly, a worker is doing the same patterns of the movement again and again for longer periods of time. So these factors basically can cause the musculoskeletal issues to the worker. These are basically the chronic effects which comes or appear with the after the long periods of time. They include discomfort, pain, musculoskeletal disorders in which our muscles, our joints, our ligaments become weak or get damaged. Then carpal tunnel syndromes, we can say that this is a syndrome or condition in which our hands are not working properly. Then muscle strains, hand-arm vibration syndromes, in which especially white fingers, our fingers can get damaged. The blood circulation system can get damaged, and our fingers are unable to perform the works. Then whole body vibrations issues. Then eye strains related to the issues related to the our sighting. Then potential other long-term injuries like permanent damage to the musculoskeletal system. So these are implications of the economic hazards. Organizational hazards, uncertainties, gaps within the structure, processes, work environment, and the culture of the organization that negatively impact the ability of organization to achieve its goals and targets. These are usually related to the management. These are non-physical factors that impact the performance of the organization. They include lack of leadership, poor communication systems or methods, unclear roles and responsibilities. So, if these factors exist in the some organization, they can have different types of implication like unhappy employees, incompetencies of the employees, increased errors, misunderstandings. Obviously, your errors will increase. There will be more misunderstandings. Poor decreased collaboration level between the departments or the teams will be less effective. Then increase unsafe acts, unsafe condition. They will give boost to the unsafe acts and unsafe condition. Then obviously your performance will be impacted. Your performance will be poor. So such factors are called organizational factors. Next, psychological hazard. These basically belong to the mental state of well-being of the worker. So these are the work-related factors that impact the worker's mental health negatively. They come from the organizational demands like workload or the bad organizational culture, and then pressure exerted on the workers in the form of deadlines and targets. So implications may include mental burnout, stress, anxiety, depression, decreased productivity, mental fatigue of the worker, and they can have the long-term mental illness like persistent and consistent depression state. So these are psychological hazards. So we have concluded our today's topics. Let's conclude them. So we understood the importance of the hazard types. Basically, they help in identification and categorization of the risk. Then let us select the suitable control measures. Then they play a crucial role in effective risk management. They make our risk assessment process more effective. They let us identify target controls as per the hierarchy of control. Then identify the training needs required for different hazards. Then let us comply with the or meet the legal requirements. Then we looked into the types of hazards, which are basically physical, chemical, biological, organizational, and psychological. Today, in this video, we learned them briefly. In the later section of the module, we will implement the risk assessment process and hierarchy of the control on these types. So that was it for today. I hope my efforts are helping you guys in learning HSE. So thank you for watching and supporting me. Any questions you can share with me, any suggestions you can share with me. So see you in the next video with next topic. Until then, take care, stay safe and healthy. Keep learning. Allah Hafiz.